Did you know if your audio is rough around the edges, people are more likely to leave for bad audio than they would if you were using a terrible camera for a face cam? Today, I'm going to help you get control of your audio. Somebody asked me in a comment on one of my YouTube videos recently that they were requesting that I show you my streaming setup and specifically my audio setup. How do I get PS5 audio to Wavelink, to OBS, and everything else? And I figured, you know what? I'm going to do the video because I think it's a fantastic idea, but I'm not going to show you just how I get PS5 audio to Wavelink. I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to show you how I do all of my streams audio. Now, mind you, I don't stream as much as I used to, but the setup is still the same. This is the exact same setup I'm using right now in recording this video. And by the time you walk away from this video, like, share, comment, subscribe, you get the drill. By the time you walk away from this video, okay, you could copy and paste what I do, tit for tat, and it'll work for you. And if you don't want to do that, you at the very least will walk away with a good, solid foundation understanding of what you can do, what products to get, what software to get to combine with those products to give you the control over your audio that you need to have so that somebody doesn't just click into your stream and leaves because your audio sucks. Because I've had it happen to me plenty of times. Okay, so let's talk about hardware and software. My entire audio setup for my streams and for my YouTube video revolves around Elgato Wavelink. Shocker, I know. In order to have access to Elgato's Wavelink software, you have to purchase one of 4 different Elgato Wave devices. Those are the Elgato Wave 1 or the Wave 3 USB condenser microphones, the Elgato Wave XLR audio interface, or the Elgato Stream Deck Plus. If you were to walk into my streaming setup right now into my room, and you look at all the gear that I have right now that I'm currently using, the first thing you would probably see here on my bottom right is my Stream Deck Plus. It's $200. It is a fantastic piece of hardware. The reason I went with this device is because it's got 8 macro keys. On the top of it, a nice touch slide LED panel in the middle, very thin one, and 4 knobs or dials, whatever you want to call them. I've also got a regular Stream Deck. So if you don't want to buy a Stream Deck Plus for $200 and you want to still control your audio levels, you can do that with any of the other Stream Deck variants out there. However, keep in mind that any of the other Stream Decks are not Wave enabled devices. So if you do buy just a Stream Deck and you don't buy a Stream Deck Plus, that means you're going to have to purchase either the Wave 1, the Wave 3, or the Wave XLR audio interface. So Wave 1 and Wave 3 being the USB condenser mics, by the way. But that is my general hardware audio setup, okay? Stream Deck Plus, regular Stream Deck, Focusrite 2x2 audio interface, and this could have also been a few days ago, the Wave XLR audio interface. So you buy the hardware, right? You connect it to your computer. I don't think I need to show you any of that. The next thing you're going to do, obviously, is you're going to go to Elgato's website and you're going to download the Elgato Wavelink software. And once you do that and you install it, this is what you get. Now, mine's already set up, but what you're going to see is basically either one input, depending on what you purchase. If you bought the Wave 1 or the Wave 3 microphone, or even the Elgato Wave XLR audio interface, and you've already got a mic plugged into it, your first input by default will be whatever microphone it is that you have running. Then you're able to go ahead and go through and start adding other different inputs to be able to control everything. So what you see here is my 2x2. This is the input that I used for my Shure SM7B. As you can tell, I've got both of them maxed out. I've got the monitor turned off because if you don't turn this one off, by the way, you're going to constantly hear yourself. And that's annoying. So don't do that. Turn it off. All right. Down here at the bottom, you click this icon and you can add audio effects, aka VST plugins. I'm currently using Elgato Noise Removal, the Reaper compressor, and Elgato's EQ. If you want to see how I equalize my microphone and how I get my microphone set up to sound the way that it does now, got a whole bunch of videos on that. Make sure you check them out. So once you've got the microphone portion of the Wavelink software set up, right, then you can go ahead and start adding all your other inputs in. All right, I went ahead and added one in for system, which is basically all of my PC's audio. I added one for browser, which is browser, by the way, and that basically allows me to independently control different things like, if I'm watching a YouTube video and reacting to it on stream, for example, I can control the volume level of the YouTube video itself independently from all of the other audio coming through my PC, which is great because sometimes, you want to hear other notifications coming in loudly and clearly, but you don't necessarily want to drown out the YouTube video itself or vice versa. I have one for game. This is not for PS5, okay? As you can see, I have one here, PS5. We'll get there in just a second. This one allows you to route the audio of a game on your PC independently from the actual PC audio itself. So when we look at system here, think of this as like system notifications, system sounds, or anything else that is not related to browser or a game being played on your computer. Next up, we have our PS5 audio input here. This obviously controls all the audio coming from my PlayStation 5, and I have voice chat to control all the audio for my Discord. So whenever I have friends on Discord and I happen to be recording or streaming, I'm able to control independently how loud they are for me and how loud they are for you. And that's it. And if I wanted to add music, I could simply add here, go to channel number 7. I can add an input and I can add music. If I wanted to add a soundboard, I can hit sound effects. If I want to go ahead and add another auxiliary device, I can add that. And guess what? 9 devices, 9 inputs. That's how much you can add. That's more than enough. I can't think of a scenario where you need to add more than 9. One area where Wavelink could be better is how it handles its Windows permissions. Okay. And we're going to do one together so you can see what I mean. It isn't enough to just add in your inputs here in Wavelink. You also have to tell Windows where to send the sound from each respective application here into Wavelink. And in order for me to show you this, we're just going to go ahead and do one right now. So let's pretend I want to start routing my Spotify music audio into my content, be it video or onto streams. I went ahead and added music, right? And we're just going to leave the levels as they are. But you know what? We don't want to get strikes or any sort of DMCA stuff. So we're going to go ahead and mute it here at the bottom for my stream output so that my streams can't hear it, but I still can. The next thing that we're going to do is here in the top right corner, you see the 3 horizontal bars. You click that and the app, volume, and device preferences window will open. In order for you to assign where the music from the Spotify app goes to, you actually have to run the Spotify app and it has to make noise. Boom. Just like that. Yes, I was listening to Sweet Home Alabama. It was an inside joke. Anyways, so now that the Spotify app has made sound, it automatically adds it here on the list on my left. I go ahead and click the top box and I'm going to find Wavelink music. Ta-da. And that's it. I can exit that out and you shouldn't be able to hear any of it. I'm going to turn the speaker down because I think you actually just heard some of that right now. So we're going to go ahead and play it and there you go. It's now making music. Well, it's been making music. Now the music audio is going into Wavelink, which is now outputting it to my headset. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and test that out. Yep, sure enough. And that's how you get your audio going to Wavelink. You have to add it as an input first into Wavelink. Then you have to assign it to that input channel via your app, what's it called here? Via the app volume and device preferences window settings here on Windows. Rinse and repeat for all of them. If I were to launch a game like maybe, I don't know, I'm playing Remnant 2 right now, for example, on PC. If I were to launch Remnant 2, I'll tab out of that, come over here, go to app preferences and whatnot. It'll be right over here and I just simply assign it to Wavelink game. And that's how you set it up. That is how you get your audio to run via Wavelink software. Now, the next thing that we need to cover is exactly how do we set up our Stream Deck device to control the different audio levels for our different audio inputs, not just for my personal use as far as how it sounds via the monitor mix, but also how it sounds for you via the stream output. This is what you would see if you have a Stream Deck Plus, all right, using the Stream Deck software and how you're able to customize it. You got, one row of 4 keys, a second row of 4 keys, the swipeable LED panel, and the dials. Notice that I have an empty slot here at the very end. We're going to go ahead and add in the ability to control the volume level for my music via Spotify for my monitor output, which is denoted by the headphone icon on each one of these dials here at the bottom. On the right-hand side, you're going to go ahead and see another set of options here. I've got Stream Deck, System, Control Center, Wavelink, OBS Studio, and Volume Control Center. You expand the Wavelink option here, you click and drag on input, and you just drag it over here. Boom, you drop it down. There we go. Well, you've just added an input as a dial. Now, at the very bottom, you could title it whatever you want, but honestly, that doesn't really matter. Under input, you're going to click the drop box here, and then I'm going to go ahead and select music. Now, Stream Deck knows that dial number 4 in this page, okay, notice I have 1, 2, and 3 different pages. In this page, dial number 4 controls the music input channel in Wavelink for my monitor mix. All right. So it's going to control the volume of Spotify for what I am able to hear on my headset. If you don't believe me, let's go ahead and open up Wavelink. And if this works, you should be able to see this bar start to decrease as I turn my dial. And there it goes. I'm able to go down. I'm able to go up. If I press the button in, it mutes it. Look at the icon here of the headset at the bottom. You see the line slash through it. That means it's muted. So it's not going to output any volume at all into this channel, which means that I'm not going to be able to hear it in my headset. But if I wanted to turn it back on, I simply push the dial in again, and you can see that that line is now gone, and I'm back in action. So what I just showed you is page 1 of my Stream Deck setup. Page 2 is a copy and paste, literal copy and paste of page 1. But the main difference here is that page 2 controls all of my audio levels for my stream mix, which is the audio that you, the viewer, the audience, would listen to. And in order to navigate to that page, you just go here on your Stream Deck Plus, and on this nice little LED screen that they have, you just swipe to the left. And here I am now on page 2. Look, see again, page 2, I'm gonna swipe to the right. Page 1, swipe to the left. Page 2, if I go left again, I'm on page 3, which is my Spotify control center. Anyways, we're gonna go back. And only difference here is you do the same exact thing, right? You go over here to Wavelink, you grab input, you drag it over, you drop it onto the knob of your choosing. And once you're doing all your selections here, you're gonna select the input that you wanna control, and you just make sure that you select Stream Mix instead. I prefer to have one page for all of my Stream Mix audio and one page for all of my monitor mix audio. It is entirely up to you how you want to do that. You can have a combination of things here and a combination of things here. I like to keep things organized. It makes my life a whole lot easier and a lot much simpler. So I recommend you do that. But again, it's entirely up to you. In this window now, what we see here is how I've got everything set up for my regular Stream Deck. In the event that my Stream Deck Plus were to just die, okay, midstream, mid-recording, I can still control all of my inputs via the regular Stream Deck. And here, unlike the Stream Deck Plus, where you can swipe the LED panel and change between, the monitor mix and the stream output, you have to designate it under different buttons. So I made a folder, one for monitor. I double click that, and here we go. I've got PC, I've got PS5, and what was once known as Spotify, which is right here under music. Actually, it's still the same. I'm surprised. I thought I'd changed that some time ago. We're going to use the music one again, all right? When you assign the changing of the volume as a button to Stream Deck, you have to assign its step, okay? So right now, if I were to press the plus sign on Spotify, it would increase the volume by 5%. If I were to press the minus button, which would be decreasing the volume, it would decrease it by 5% as well. You can set it anywhere from -25 to +25%. And let's go ahead and check that out. So I'm going to go ahead and decrease the volume under music by pressing this button right here. As you can see, that is exactly what is happening. Unlike the Stream Deck Plus though, I don't have a knob that I can push in to mute or unmute the entire input itself. I actually have to add a button to do that. And in order to do so, it's super easy. You go over here to your right-hand side with all these different options that you've got, depending on what you've downloaded from the Stream Deck store. You might have different options than I do, but you're going to have one that says Wavelink. You're going to grab your input, you're going to click it and hold it, and you're going to drag it over to a button of your choosing. Let's put it here in the top corner. Actually, let's just put it here up top. And you're going to be able to select mute. And you need to select the input. We're going to go ahead and choose music, and we're going to leave it set for monitor mix, because right now I only want to control Spotify as it would be coming to my headset, because remember, I already muted it out to the stream because I don't want to deal with copyright strikes and DMCA shit at all. If that is true and it works, then if I press this button, you can now see that there's a line striking through the headset icon here at the bottom of my music input in Wavelink, which now means that Spotify is muted and it will not come through my headset at all, even if I were to play Sweet Home Alabama 1,000 times. If I wanted to listen to it again, I just simply press the button once more, and now it is no longer muted. Unlike the Stream Deck Plus, where I'm able to swipe across this LED screen to change to my different pages that I have set up, right? Because right now on my Stream Deck Plus, page 1 controls my audio levels for all of my inputs for the monitor mix, which is the audio I listen to. Page number 2 is a copy and paste identical setup, but instead of controlling my monitor mix levels, it controls the levels for my stream output. On the regular version of the Stream Decks, you don't have a screen to swipe across to change to different pages. So you have to set up folders, okay? Each one of these buttons is a folder. And in order to set one up, all you gotta do is right click on an empty box here and hit create folder. You can name it whatever you want. You can add an icon to it and you click in, and now you got yourself a whole nother page to go with, right? So each one of these right here, except for this one, of course, monitor is its own folder and stream is its own folder. You double click on stream and bam, now I'm able to control my audio levels for the stream output of my PC audio, my PS5 audio, and Spotify. And the setup's the exact same, except whenever you drop input over here and you select music, the big difference is that for output, you're just gonna select stream mix instead of your audio, your monitor mix. You can select the step size, yada, yada, yada. We've already covered that. So moving on. Everything I've shown you up until this point in the video is very straightforward. You buy the device, you plug it into your computer via the provided USB cable into the appropriate USB ports. You download the software, you create the audio input channels, and you reroute the channels via the Windows sound settings, okay? All that stuff is straightforward. It doesn't require any sort of out-of-the-box connectivity or anything like that. The only thing in my setup that required some out-of-the-box thinking is how I got my PlayStation 5 audio running to my computer, which then allowed me to add it into Wavelink. There's a couple of problems with the PS5, okay? When it comes to audio, everything else is great. There's no optical out port in the back of the system, which in the PS4 generation, that allowed me to kind of circumvent some things and be able to record and capture audio for my games when I was using the Elgato HD60 capture card. I've since upgraded to the Elgato HD60S Plus, and if you technically wanted to do this without a sort of any crazy connections, all you simply would have to do is buy the Elgato Chatlink cable, plug one end into your capture card, and plug the other end here into your DualSense controller. But here's the thing. It's 2023. I refuse to play video games with a controller that is tethered by a cable to another device. It makes absolutely no sense. I refuse to do it. And I put my head together and I started thinking of some sort of alternatives, and I found one. Chances are the TV that you're playing on or the monitor that you're playing on has a 3.5 millimeter port out. Okay. And if that is the case, all you need to do is you need to buy a nice lengthy aux cable. All right. You buy a double male ended aux cable. You plug one end into your monitor, and you plug the other end into the back of your motherboard, the sound card portion of it. If you look at the back of your motherboard, you're going to see all the different 3.5 millimeter ports that have different colors. I found that the blue one, typically it's blue, is a line-in port. That means anything you plug into that is sending sound from whatever source it's originating from into the motherboard, basically into your computer. I'm like, oh my God, problem solved. So I ran a cable from my monitor, the 3.5 millimeter aux cord, from my monitor to the line-in port of my computer, and boom, done. That was it. And that is why, ladies and gents, if you look at my Stream Deck software setup right now under PS5, I have it set in as an aux input device under line-in to Realtek High Definition. This picks up all of my audio from my PS5. As a matter of fact, let's check it out. All right, so I got the PS5 running. Going to show you all this works, right? So right now, if I just start navigating my PS5 menu, I want to show you, I'm not like trying to play with y'all or be like untruthful here. You can see the meters under the PS5 input here moving around. And I know for a fact you can hear me navigating this menu as an update for God of War Ragnarok drops and Demon Souls, etc. Anyways, and this is it. It's as simple as that. And as a result of that, I'm able to now control my PS5 audio for myself and for my streams or for my videos. I don't have any problems with this. No clipping, no weird sound, no delay, no lag, nothing. This works flawlessly, perfectly, and simply. And that's it. That is how I get my PS5 audio from my PS5 to my monitor, to my PC, into Wavelink so that I can control the levels for my PlayStation 5 along with the levels of all my other audio sources. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I really hope that I was able to explain this. And I say that because sometimes I feel like I get it, and so it should be easy to explain, but then I overthink my explanation and it gets a little muddy. So if you have any questions on any of this, please sound off in the comments below. I promise you I will respond. But y'all, listen, here's the deal. Audio is like super, super important to your content, okay? And not only is audio important in regards to like making sure that your microphone sounds great, that you're using the right microphone in the right environment for the right voice, but also the ability to control your levels for all the different sources that you're using and that you're projecting out to your streams or to your content. Being able to control that at a moment's notice is incredibly important, because anytime that I have streamed in the past and somebody tells me, hey man, the game is a little too loud, I can barely hear you. You know, you don't want to have to stop, pause, alt tab out of one thing, go into a whole nother window and start finagling with meters there. Just turning a dial, really quickly can solve a world of problems fast and gives you a better chance of retaining people. Okay. And I really hope that I was able to explain that for you. And again, if you have questions, please let me know in the comments below. Appreciate y'all hanging out for this one. Have a wonderful day. I will have Amazon affiliate links in the description below for all the products that I use here for this setup. If you go through those links and purchase anything, I do get a portion of the sale. It helps the channel. It helps me out. I don't use it for personal stuff. I don't use it for bills or anything house related. I've got that covered with my 9 to 5. But any proceeds that I make from YouTube or Twitch or anything like that, I always use it to reinvest back into the channel, usually in the form of buying gear to review for y'all so that y'all have the ability to make informed purchases so that you don't go out there and waste your hard-earned money like some people do here. So y'all take care. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Peace out.